Okay, I've got a 2016 Kia Soul. This has the 2.0 liter, and as you can see, this has been wrecked pretty bad in the front here. I'm going to be going through here and replacing pretty much the whole entire front cap. But this car actually came from up in Michigan. This is a really nice model. Has the leather backup camera and everything. So we're going to work on getting, first of all, getting all of these bad parts off here, and getting a look at it and make sure we don't have any unknowns in here. It does run and drive, which is a good thing. The engines are very expensive for these cars, so just the engine alone is worth what I've got this for. So you want to stay tuned. I'm gonna, once we get this together, I'm going to show you the inside. We'll get it cleaned up. It's going to look really nice. Now this is just a list of things I've jotted down here so far. So this is what I got this from an auction. This is what I have got in it completely, getting it delivered and everything. So this is a few of the things that I've ordered. A radiator, condenser. Some of these things you're going to have to get new. There's no avoiding it. But everything else you see here, I'm going to be getting from a donor vehicle, and I'm hoping that we're going to keep the cost way down. I've got a vehicle that I've already located, and as long as everything goes according to plan, I think this is going to go really well. So we're just going to get started on removing some things here, and just let me give you a view of what's going on here. You can see, the headlights, everything have been busted. The one that's left here, this fender got pushed back. I think that, so this is just very minor, kind of bent there a little bit. I think it's because someone tried to open the door, because the fender's pushed back. You cannot open the door there. Looks like everything behind the fenders though is good. So just to give you a look at this side, and see, in some cases things may look worse than they are. It looks like even the brace up here has survived, but I'll probably get a closer look at it anyways. So can't even really open the hood at this point because it's pushed back and it's just hitting on the pillars there. And of course that's going to continue to scratch. So I think the very first thing that we are going to get on is just getting this hood off of here. Yeah, it's funny, they actually put all of the little pieces back in here that get broken off and everything. So this is, I'm not sure what's going on with this thing, if it's wedged, but this is the latch, and I'm going to remove these 10 millimeters here, I guess, to start with, because it's wedged in here or something. I'm not really quite sure what's going on. It might just be that it can't move back here, so maybe we'll take these out back here first. I'm all but certain that these hinges got damaged and bent. We're going to start with this 13 right here. There's our first bolt, and I guess I forgot to mention this, or if I did, this thing has 39,000 miles on it, so very low mild. Okay, and back up here we've got a 12 millimeter I'm going to try to get to. Not for sure if that size is supposed to be different or what. And I'm going to get these hood shocks disconnected next. Okay, so immediately when I got that loose, this whole thing shoved forward, so I guess it was in a bind. Well, in my shocks that I forgot about. Okay, so I should have got this first. I just pulled that completely off. Okay, it appears to be stuck. So I think I just got it in a bind here, because there we go. Good thing I had a hand on it. Okay, so now that this side's completely loose, I'm just going to do the same thing on the other side here. Okay, hood is completely loose. Nothing even holding it up here, the latch or anything. It was just in a bind, but surprisingly enough, these hood shocks still seem to be in good shape. I'm really shocked that those things still work. I'm just going to set this aside. Okay, so I guess it is still holding a little bit here. I'm going to try to take these out because it's in a bind. I can't even move this handle. I'm going to try to zip these three 10mm out here. Okay, I just zipped that piece out of there. Okay, at least we can see in here a little bit. I think the next thing I'm going to get on this headlight. This got all smashed up. I mean, this tank has the windshield washer fluid in it, so it survived being busted. Looks like this little clip here got broke. Oh, no big deal. Probably grab another one while I'm at it. So I know that the overflow tank is busted up. Not for sure if it has any coolant in it. I think the next I'm going to get, got 3 of these 10mm. We'll get these next. And before I forget, see, this is something I didn't think about being busted, but this, it's not horrible, but this cowl screen up here got busted up. Got a couple of 10mm on this coolant spout, or the filler neck. Looks like it survived. But the air box over here didn't. It got crushed. Doesn't look like this bumper is being held by anything other than these fog lights. So you unclip them like that. This was, I think the thing that holds the fog lamp is broken though, because when I twisted it, I heard a snap. So maybe it'll still work, because they look to be otherwise look to be intact. Let me get my fog lights out of here. So the next thing I want to get on is removing this front brace. Looks like the ambient air sensor got destroyed, but you can see how this got bent a little bit, but it's not really a big deal. I can get another brace, and and I probably can straighten this back here a little bit, but if not, you know, we'll figure something out with that. But other than that, it doesn't look real bad. So we got to get this off to be able to get the radiator support. Okay, I've got all the bolts out of here. We're getting ready to set it off. So other than the wires behind this radiator support is going to be free because it bolts up at the top and then here. So it's kind of crushed in here. I'm going to see about removing it. Okay, I don't know if this still has any coolant. I know the overflow is busted, so I'm going to get a tank over here because I'm going to have to remove the radiator and condenser first. Okay, we actually got coolant in here. Actually a good thing. It's going to have to come out, but there's not very much in there. Okay, now I got to disconnect these 10mm nuts for the condenser. Now, if you had Freon, you would not be able to do this without evacuating it first. You can't expect your condenser and stuff to survive a wreck. The radiator didn't have much in it either. We're going to tape these ends up. Now, the only bad thing is this took a hit. So I'm hoping this line's okay, otherwise I got to replace this whole line back up to the expansion valve. Alright, so I've got everything loose to get this out of the way now. I'm just going to bend it back here, and looks like I've got coolant in that tank. Okay, we got to disconnect our oil transmission cooler lines here. Now you'll notice this is another unknown. This got smashed up, so I'll have to get another one of those. Hopefully the one on the donor is good. This one here looks like it got hit too, but it didn't really damage it. And we got those labeled too, so we don't get them mixed up. Now these will need to plug off because they'll just continue to leak and make a big mess everywhere. Okay, we just stuck a couple bolts in there, so hopefully that'll stop all that leaking. And we just need to unclip them down here. So they're clipped in, and then they've got a zip tie right here we got to cut. Okay, we just have a few 10mm at the bottom of this plastic piece, and this should come off. Now we got a wire here, but this side is kind of bent back because it should be falling off. So there we have that. And this is just all plastic, so it's no wonder that this stuff just smashes all the pieces. We need our little airbag sensors. We'll have to remove those. I stand corrected. Some of it's plastic and some of it's metal. I was wondering how this survived, but it actually didn't. This here got a rip right there. And let me show you. Right here, this split and cracked. Something got busted on this purge valve here too. The little nipple busted off, so I'll have to replace that. I think the resonator box down here might be okay. I don't see any cracks on it. Looks like I'm probably going to be replacing this line after all. It took a pretty good hit right here too. Not for sure about this one. It looks okay, but this one definitely took a hit, and plus this up here got bent too. You can see this line goes all the way back over here and runs up to the expansion valve. Unfortunately, it looks like the most expensive line of all that got damaged. Alright, I'm going to get on these fenders. Last thing I need to do, looks like we've got some Phillips here. Most of it is already ripped loose. So I'm going to see about getting a short screwdriver, getting these. It helps if you turn your wheel a little bit. Got one hiding up in here. Go in here and get that. Let's use the Phillips maybe. 10mm also work. Okay, so on top of the screws, we've got this little plastic cap up here for these fender liners that I'm getting. We've got a couple of push pins over here, and then this liner will come down, and so these are the only bad thing about, on top of getting this out to be able to get to these bolts on the fender, we've got to pop this off. And the trouble with that is that these clips break most of the time. So we're going to get this fender liner out now. Okay, and you can see we got it loose. It's still being held right here. So the way these panels work is there's clips like coming up from the bottom and coming through the side. These always, always break. So we're going to try to pull this out. Okay, so we got it popped back loose here, as you can see. Now, rather than risk breaking all our clips, we're going to just try to get these out right here. These two 10mm. Okay, I gotta carefully go in here and get these clips for this little plastic liner. Okay, if we look right in here, I'm trying to find the best place to show you that. We got a hidden little 10mm. Okay, there it is, and that's coming from this side. It was covered by the plastic piece, so we're going to get that out. And actually we don't even need to remove it, we just need to loosen it up so it'll slip off of there. And that driver's left fender there wasn't really too bad. Probably could have used that if I wanted to. Okay, we're back working on this 2016 Kia Soul. We're going to start getting some of these things put together here today. I wound up taking the, I'll show you this solenoid right here, this purge, whatever, and taking that off of the 2013 that I had over here, and surprisingly it fits. The hose is long enough just to route up here. Now the one that was on here, the spout went straight up, but this is the same exact little solenoid, so it works. So luckily didn't have to get one of those. Now I spent a good little bit of time straightening up as much as I could on these. This one over here straightened up well. This one was bent back, so it took a little bit of doing. So we got all new hoses, so we may just start getting the hose off here and putting our new hose on first. And these are not easy to find in the parts store. I had to order every single one of these, it seemed like. More especially this particular hose that goes up here on the top. So if you need these, I would suggest getting them way ahead of time. But you know, the two top ones are damaged. No way was I going to go ahead and use this lower one after replacing the top two. Okay, so I'm going to use my heat gun. It's my new favorite way of removing these. You got it set on 4. If you've got a plastic fitting, you probably want to set it on about 3. We're just going to heat this up really good, and then it'll just pull right off of here. Okay, I've heated it up pretty good. Now usually these will twist off. This one must really be stuck because I'm having to use my puller still. But I think it did free it up. It helps if you can get all the way around with a heat gun, because I can only get the top part there. And normally these plastic ends are not that much trouble. It doesn't stick quite as bad to the plastic. Now I won't be using these clamps. I don't mind the clamps. However, they never seem to fit right on the aftermarket hose. Now this is really glued to this too, so I think I'm going to use the heat gun on it as well. And you can see there's no budge in this thing. Now I'll turn this setting back down to 3 on this. I don't want to get carried away on this plastic. Now I was incorrect about this housing. This wasn't cracked after all. It's just the way that the lines were on it, the way it's made. So I'm going to be reusing this one. You'll notice these hoses have marks. I also put like a white dot so you know where to orient it. We'll just run this around it, heat it up, and we should be able to get it off there pretty easy. Okay, you can see I run that around there till it's just kind of hot to the touch, and you can look at this twisting loose, and we can easily take it off there. So it really does work. Not saying that it's any quicker, but it's definitely easier, and you don't run the risk of damaging this by digging on it with a screwdriver or anything else. So we're just going to transfer this to the other new hose. So judging by the way my mark is on here, we're going to orient it just like about that. And this one's a little bit longer than the other one. So you want to get yourself a whole bag of these. These go up to the max size is 1 3/4 inches. I forget what the minimum size is, but this is what works out the best on these the majority of these radiator hoses. So we're just going to get a couple of these on here. Just got to make sure you get them tight enough. These things will leak if they're not tight. Right, so that's tight. It's got a good 1/2 inch wide band on it too, so these hold really good. Can't remember the orientation of this, so I'm going to just wait on that one. Now I had a lower hose that showed me the orientation, but I've misplaced it, so I'm going to just leave this one loose for now. Okay, before we start putting anything else on, I just want to give you a view of what exactly we had to get to replace everything up here. And as far as like everything that I found at the salvage yard, it was $500 for the hood. The hood's got a little bit of hail damage. The fender, as far as that goes, the one on the driver's side, I'm going to just use it. It was bent up a little bit right here, and I just bent that back down. I think it's going to be fine because mine was better than the one at the salvage yard. So these are the pieces that go up above the fenders, little trim pieces. And every bit of mine, the air resonator and everything was busted. So that piece there, we're going to put on a new air box. These are little pieces that go up on the condenser. This is the condenser, new radiator support, and everything that goes on there, horn and everything with that, the brace, and then the fan, of course, that has the overflow, and we got a bumper, you can see. And so the good thing about it is I don't have to worry about painting it. I probably will have the hood fixed eventually, but I'm not really that worried about it right now. The main thing is getting it back together. So I think probably the next thing we're going to do is get this resonator over here on, and we might stick the air box and stuff on, and then work on getting the radiator support in place. Okay, so we got the two that are going through the side here, and there's one that comes up through the bottom as well. All right, we'll get these snugged up. Okay, now the way this works, the bolts go through the front brace and this, so we're going to go ahead and mount the front brace on to this radiator support. We'll set it right on these studs. Okay, then we got a couple of these 10mm nuts that are going to hold this. Okay, all the threads over here on this side are fine. This one over here, I'm going to put just going to put one of the bolts, a nut on the back side. This one here is kind of mangled. I'm going to come back and drill that out later and deal with that. But I'm going to get 3 on this side for now. Okay, so we got a couple in here. So these are lining up pretty good, all things considered. Okay, I got the front just tightened up for now. I want to see how this is going to all center up and look, so I'm starting to get the fender on. Got this side on. Here, we'll go ahead and get the driver's side on. Okay, and this screw in here, the fender just going to slip on. I'm going to slip it right back down in here behind that body panel, rocker panel there. All right, we'll get these in. That one inside the door, we'll just tighten that up. Really want to see how everything's going to look. We're getting these ones at the bottom here. Okay, I'll pop this piece back on and get the bolt going through here. Okay, I'm just putting these little plastic pieces and the little screw that goes back in here and the little snap. Okay, so I'm just getting the bolts in the hood here, getting this set. Okay, I was setting the hood. It looks good, but the latch mechanism is off-centered, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do about this. It's not lining up. It's about 1/2 of an inch off, looks like. I think I'm going to go ahead and put the hood struts on. Okay, so got the hood working good. We're going to go ahead. I'm going to put the cowls on, and then I'm going to have to figure out what to do about this alignment here. See about moving it over that little bit. And that should slide up under that windshield a little bit there. And we can get our wiper washer connector. Okay, and then we just put all those little snaps back in there. So then we got this over here reconnected. Okay, so back out here today, what I had figured out on this being off center was I got basically put it together and I fastened up the fenders on each side over here and kind of got it set, and I went ahead and also put the headlights in, bolted the headlights down on both sides, and basically had the radiator support loose so it would pull it to where I needed it centered. Then I went ahead and brought the hood down, shut the hood so I knew it was centered up, and then it was just a matter of adjusting my bolts. I kind of like slotted them just a little bit and moved them over. It wasn't as much as I thought it was going to be, but you can see we got it bolted up here, and the only one I couldn't get in was this one mangled up over here, but we got 3 good bolts, 4 over here. It's nice and solid, and everything is centered up. So at this point we're just going to go about getting everything put together, getting everything reconnected. Pretty straightforward from here. The hood cable is running through here. It's going to clip in to these. Of course, you got to get it back in there first, and then it's just going to clip in here into these little slots, and we need to probably get this up here before we clip that in. And of course, we've got on each side you have these for the airbag, and we have to fasten those on each side. We got one over here. It's ready to go. And these came with the radiator support. The ambient air sensor, I got that with this little brace, and all I did was just soldered it in and left a little extra there, but we got that soldered in, so that's took care of. And so we're just going to start putting everything together now. I'll just get the other side. Okay, and here we got our new radiator, and it actually came with these transcooler fittings here. I didn't even think about that because those were damaged on the other one, so that's good. We got our condenser. It's all vacuum wrapped, and here's our replacement fan. So I think the very first thing we're going to do is just get this transferred over here to our radiator. So this is just going to sit on here, slip in to our clips on each side. So just this fan alone, like over $100. So I'm very happy with the price of the used parts. Okay, we got that took care of. We'll go ahead and flip it over and get our condenser on. And it'll just go down until it locks right under that lip. Get you in there a little bit. That lip right there. That's as far as it goes. Okay, now we're just going to pick this up and set the whole assembly over here. Now we can't forget our little rubber bushings that go in here. I believe it was this one, but I could be wrong. We can move them if not. Okay, so we'll carefully set it in here. Hopefully trying not to bang everything up. I do got that hose right in my way over here. Don't forget your clamp like me. Alright, we're going to take care of these Freon lines here while we're right here handy with it. Got to put these little studs in here that they come with. We're going to take a little bit of this Padge oil and pour in here. For one thing, we're going to replace like an ounce or so what would have been in the condenser, and the other thing we want to lube up for these O-rings going in here. Okay, so we got the oil in, and we're going to have to get this. Okay, something's not exactly right about this pipe here. It may be slightly bent. So I'm going to just go ahead and bolt it down, and then I'll move it a little bit. It's very soft aluminum tubing. It gives you a little bit of flexibility. Okay. Okay, so I bent it over there a little bit without straightening the line. That's about the best I can do. Okay, that one was no less easy to line up. It was a little bit bent too, so I had to kind of move it a little bit. That's just how things are when they're not perfect like they are or once were. Okay, we're going to get our fan connector while we got this coolant hose out of the way. I always like to take the time to put a little bit of this silicone paste on here. Man, these connectors like to stick. Okay. Gonna get my clamps. Okay, now we're going to get these oil cooler lines hooked up. I've got these marked, which one goes where. These clamps that were on there before, I could just spin them once the hoses are on, so we're going to be using these screw style clamps. And of course we got to clip our hoses back in around that shroud, that fan shroud there. We'll just get these snugged up. Okay, so they're in no danger of leaking now. Okay, so got those hoses clipped into the fan shroud, and they're no less easy to put back than they are to unsnap. Okay, we got everything in place there, so we're ready to go ahead and put these braces that go on the top here. Right, so we got this one snugged up. Okay, under these headlight we have these bumper retainer pieces. And we've got the 2 screws. Now I know these headlights, just wanted to mention it, like they have this crazing, you can look it up. I tried sanding this, it didn't work on these, so really all you can do is replace the headlight once it gets like this. Well, we got these pieces that go on each side, and they're marked which side they go on. Okay, I had it the wrong way. It goes like this. So it should slip down on here. Like so. Gotta get it turned in there right. Fits really tight. Okay, before we put this bumper on, we're going to go ahead and get some coolant in it up here. If I've got any leaks, I want to know it now while the bumper's off, and I can tighten them up and fix them. Alright, so this is concentrated, so I'm going to just be mixing it 50-50 here and checking for leaks. Right, I'm just working the air out of it. I don't see any leaks at our hoses, and everything's looking good so far. It's not uncommon for it to take several days to get the air out of some good driving, and so you'll have to refill it as needed. Keep an eye on this tank down here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get the bumper on here now and get it slipped on. Everything's looking good. Now we'll have to plug in our fog lights here. Okay, so we should be able to just slip this right up in place. Looks like I'm going to have to take that one back out. I didn't foresee that. So I probably should have waited on putting that in because that slips underneath, but we'll slide this up until it latches. Of course, this is going to have to slide in under these lights before it can clip in. It's got like a plastic nub here that goes back here and clips on this piece of metal. Okay, and that's just going to clip back here, and then we got one 8mm. Don't want to over tighten this plastic. Okay, so I was calling this an 8, actually got a 10mm little bolt that goes on each side. Alright, so that bumper is looking really good. We got them fastened at the top and the sides. We got to get this bottom piece here. Debating on whether I want to put it on ramps to get to that. Alright, so we just got to get these 10mm going up into this. And we can't forget about our fog lights. Some of this piece is ripped off under here, but I've got enough at this end I can get a couple snaps in. Okay, that's the wrong size. Alright, I found a big enough size, at least it's not pulling out. Alright, I'm going up in here to get this fog light. So I probably should have hooked that up before fastening the bumper down. This is difficult to get my hand in there. Now the one on this side's easy to get to. Okay, I'm going to get the fender liner on here. A lot easier to do with the tire off, but we're just going to deal with it and put it on. Okay, had it going the wrong way here. Well, this kind of slips in like behind this little rocker panel. Alright, we just got to start working some of our snaps in. Always best to get your snaps lined up first. Pretty hard to show you anything with this tire on here. That has the little plastic, or you could just use a nut with a washer. This one down here has a threaded bolt. It goes in here. These will just snap in right over the top of that. And we'll slip that right back on. Right, I've got those fastened up, everything in over here. We're going to get over here to, we got a few underneath. Okay, so that's going to finish putting everything we need to put together. We got our fender liners, our rocker panel. That is some lithium grease I'm using to get that yellow marker they put on them when they go to the scrap yard. Very hard to get off, not so hard on the glass to get off the glass. But we got the rocker panels back on, no big deal. Haven't cleaned it up, but you seen what it looked like before, and I mean, it's an amazing difference. The headlights aren't great, but that's what we got now. We got our fog lights. Looks really good. This hood, we'll go ahead and show you. It's got a little bit of hail damage. I've got somebody that does some paint work. I'm gonna have them fix that, just so this will look nice up here in the front, and they fix those scratches. But not bad for $500 for that whole pretty much front end. And I realized I hadn't even shown you the interior. Right, let's take a look at the inside here. This thing has heated and cooled seats. Very nice. I've had heated seats, but I've never had cooled seats. And even with the wreck, like, none of the airbags or anything went off. It's got the nice touch screen. It's got a backup camera. Something's going on with the fuel. I've put fuel in it and it's saying it's low, so I have to figure maybe a wire got clipped or something when it got wrecked. And this has the push start, so the can't be easily taken for a joyride like they're doing with the others. Like I said, this thing sounds amazing. It really sounds good. And I don't think I even showed you. See, it's only got, if you get rid of the glare, 39,945 is the miles on it. Now, I've got the air worked out. I was running the heat. I know it's circulating through. So, the check engine light, I had the MAF sensor unplugged when I cranked it before, so I'm gonna have to delete that out. This thing really sounds amazing. Oh, and I got to show you the this has got like a full, I don't have it opened right now, but It's got like a full sunroof or panoramic or whatever they call it here. Well, I just wanted to show you this going down the road. This thing drives like a new car. I know it was involved in the front end damage. It drives like new. The suspension feels perfect. I'm gonna get the alignment checked, but I mean, I don't even really feel any alignment issues or anything. This thing really drives nice. I really like the way the engine sounds. I haven't had a car with this low miles in a while. It's really nice running car. I really can't believe how warm it is today. I may vacuum this thing down and see about doing something with the AC. Now the brakes, you know, are all rusty. This thing's been sitting around, you know, so they're making a little noise. I'm gonna have to replace the brake pads, but possibly the rotors. Okay, we're going to talk about the cost here of everything that we've had to do to this car. Alright, so this was, you know, the cost of the car, $500 for the front end parts, and you know, that was the hood, the radiator support fan, and the air box, and all the different things. Now the fenders on that car were no good, so I wound up using the fender I had on the drivers and getting another fender off of a 2017, and it was a really good one. That's the price of that. The hoses, condenser, radiator, and then coolant, and this was fuel going to picking up parts that I've included in there. So the grand total, everything that's been spent on this car, is $6,250, and this is a really low mile car, really nice interior, so I feel like it's well worth it. Alright, so that's going to do it for the video. If you like this sort of comment, leave a comment, thumbs up, let me know. But that's going to do it for the video, and I definitely like the way this turned out, and this is probably one of the more fun projects. Really enjoyed putting this together. So anyways, as always, I invite you to subscribe, and thanks for watching.